3, 2, 1, go.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
For the greater good.
This is episode 193. And tonight we are talking about, with a very special episode, the Justice League. That's right, 2017's The Justice League. I know.
Now for some more bad news. Ready?
I even knew he was going to do that, and I forgot. Oh my gosh! This, for those who normally listening, this is our third attempt to start the podcast, and it has been a night of comedy errors.
This has been great, folks.
Oh my gosh, this is. I almost wish I'd kind of kept recording all of it, just so that you can I'd have a blooper reel or something. I don't know. It's a good thing we don't do this live. Oh jeez. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew, my man Jemison.
Booyah.
Oh, that's actually Corny's middle name.
Sorry.
No, well, he's not here tonight, so it's fine. Sam in Soviet Russia, land kills you. Vector. Sorry, I forgot your last name.
Merry Christmas there, Sean.
No,
Happy
thanks,
New Year.
And Alan, who is joining us tonight, this is not his middle name, but joining us as a listener, Alan, as he has, and he's, of course, emailed in many times, and he participated last year, or I think it was about a year ago, on the not really.
Been a year?
It's been a while, yeah. I think it's been about a year.
Yeah.
Whenever Batman vs Superman came out, maybe it was last summer. I can't remember. Okay. I guess I can look back at the list and find out. But he participates in the opportunity that we have to, if you donate the $25 to Cheap Seat Reviews to our GoFundMe.com/CheapSeatReviews, that helps keep the lights
Sean
on.
will pimp himself out.
Well, we will all pimp ourselves out for the podcast, and here we are. So, Alan, race to the West Coast, Broadway.
Hurry up, slowpoke.
No, okay. And actually, I had to do some research. I actually was curious as to who would have won that race, and apparently, there's no definitive answer.
Nope.
Like an issue, blah 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 blah. Superman can fly faster than him, but an issue, he lets him. He lets the Flash win, and then in episode such and such, the Flash was actually because you're the Man of Steel and the leader of the group, I've been holding back so that it wouldn't hurt your feelings, and then smokes him. So there's no answer.
I think general canon is that the Flash is faster foot speed.
Well, I think he's faster. He's faster running than Superman running. But remember, Superman can go so fast he can make the Earth spin backwards.
Yeah, and go back in time.
Yeah, so
that's canon.
It's canon. So anyway,
so anything bad goes wrong, you just spin the Earth and
yeah, like why doesn't he do that more often? I mean, is there a cooldown on that? I don't know. Anyway, cool. So this is Justice League. Okay, here's your warning. Spoiler alert. I know the movie's been out a month, and I know that the new Star Wars. Man, I can't talk. Star Wars movie is the new talk of the town, and we will do that movie right after Christmas. But tonight we're doing Justice League because that's what Alan wanted to do, and finally I watched it this past week. So it is what it is. So that's what we're doing tonight, and I'm excited. And of course, as always, Andrew is here to tell us what is the Justice League.
Fueled by his restored faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act,
Bruce Wayne enlists the help of his newly found ally, Diana Prince, to face an even greater enemy.
He was renewed by his selfless act? I don't think Superman did it on purpose, right?
Well,
Did he? I didn't think he meant to. I think it just kind of happened, right? I don't think it was like it wasn't like Dumbledore on the tower where he meant to, right? Spoiler.
The tension in the scene is Lois seems to know that is what his plan is to do, because she's like, "Don't do it," Stay here with me. Don't, I think that was what he tried. I don't know that it was necessarily his intent to die, but who knows?
Interesting. Okay, well, I didn't pick up on that, and I don't remember talking about it in our last previous thing. So let's do this. We'll do our normal kind of. We'll all intro it as we do each other, and then we'll just go from there. I don't have notes because again, this is still in the theater, so I can't. Actually, I probably could have taken a laptop and taken notes because I was the only person in the room, but I didn't. So I didn't. So we'll just kind of go off the top of my head. Which is always great podcasting, by the way. But I will let Andrew kind of lead off as he is often to do with his kind of intro for Justice League 2017, directed mostly by Zack Snyder.
Mostly. I went to the theater by myself, as I usually do, like an old man who has been widowed with no friends. And
so basically, you're the man from Up.
Was it opening night? No, it was a couple nights after. Anyway, everybody was still dressed as superheroes, and I had my extra large popcorn and bucket of cola, and I was standing in the hallway next to these small children like a creeper, waiting for the doors to open. And I went in. I was really excited, and as people were coming out of the show before, I heard them saying terrible things.
Yeah.
And right then, I started to doubt that this movie was going to be good. And some of what they said was true. I did not enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed Batman versus Superman. I feel like this one kind of catered to, I don't know, maybe the Marvel type audience a little bit more. And
that's interesting you say that. I'm going to remember that. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. In some aspects, not all the way. But I don't know. This was forgettable to me, clearly, because I've forgotten a lot about the movie and what I've been trying to remember.
In fairness, it was about a month ago.
Yeah. So overall, maybe we'll talk about it and I'll remember a few things that happened, but I feel like there should have been, let me just put it this way. I feel like Marvel did it the right way in setting up characters before we put them all together, because I don't know. I feel like I'm missing some of that.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that it would be okay. I hoped that it would be okay. Yeah. And it wasn't terrible, but I think the way that Marvel did it, had DC done it this way, or done it that way, it may have helped. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Sam.
Oh, my turn. Okay. I also saw this a few weeks ago, so my memory needs to be jogged a bit. But I was one of the folks that didn't like Batman versus Superman very much, but it was still a serviceable movie. The further away it gets in my memory, the more I think I like it. This one, I'm the opposite of Andrew, and I think I like this one a little bit more than the Batman versus Superman. And I'm not sure why. I think it was the humor. I think it was because we saw things we haven't seen before that I found very interesting. I enjoy seeing Wonder Woman. I have fallen in love with Gal Gadot and
Gadot.
And what's that?
It's actually Gadot. She's actually pronounced it Gal Gadot.
Well, if she was mine, it would be Gadot.
If she was yours?
Yeah, if she was mine. So
okay.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Right? Wasn't weird at all.
No, but I found, believe it or not, the story was more coherent, even if it was kind of stupid. I enjoyed the big bad and his powers. I thought each person was, you could see how they fight differently. If there was any character that really stood out in this movie, other than Godot, it would be the Flash, and I enjoyed his character quite a bit. And the premise is a little messed up. I mean, who leaves around a very precious box and just leaves it kind of like in the backseat of their car with the windows down and the doors unlocked? You know, when somebody is out there looking for it and can destroy the world with it.
That's why I don't smoke pot.
Yeah, and that's a little strange to me. Also, the whole idea that Superman, spoiler alert, can come back to life so easily was again a little strange.
They used the Matrix. What was it called? The Allspark, and brought him back.
Allspark. But I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it, and I think people give these movies, including myself, when I first saw Batman vs Superman, I think we give it too hard of a time to try to make it the next The Dark Knight. And these characters, these DC characters, are different than Marvel. They are bigger. They've got more to them in terms of the powers that they wield. Even in this movie, Superman is incredibly OP. He is, he could have done all this himself. He didn't need any help from anybody else.
Yeah, he's down with OPP.
Yeah. And in this movie too, Batman was just kind of, I don't want to say useless, but other than being smart, and having lots of toys, he didn't do a whole lot in the movie. So I don't know. I'm interested to hear what Alan has to say, of course, and and just ignore Sean while I wrap some presents. So, what do you guys have to say?
Go ahead, Alan.
Okay, I also saw this opening night and went into the movie with some trepidation. Had read some reviews, and I need to just stay off the internet before I see a movie. But also read up on some of the production problems and all of the studio side garbage that came along with this film, and I did not expect it to live up to my expectation. However, I did have a lot of fun watching it. I thought it was a pretty fun movie. It was a terrible attempt at over course correction too quickly. It has some really great moments in it that I'm sure we'll discuss. But the best analogy that I've heard that I've come up with and talked with folks is, it seemed like it was you had all the ingredients for a really good pizza, and the oven didn't quite work correctly. All the pieces are there, all the ingredients are there for a really good movie, even some good storytelling. But the oven didn't quite cook it all the way. And if we get into some of the issues behind the scenes, I think that would explain possibly even more as to what happened. And Sam, you said something about the storylines. Stupid. I thought it was very generic. Kind of there was a master plan for a 2-part movie that had leading into something else, and they said, no, we're just going to do this as a one-off and see where we go from there. So it was very generic.
What I think they did is they took the Marvel approach to the villain, but he wasn't big enough for the Justice League. No. I felt Superman could have taken care of this. Not Batman. I don't think he could have done this, but this would have been a good Superman film. But it didn't need the whole Justice League to make it work. And that, just like Marvel has a villain problem, they brought that idea into this. It just didn't feel big enough to warrant all the heroes.
And I think if we talk a little more about plans and studio interference and that sort of thing, you'll see where those issues came up and why they rose the way they did. But I know I enjoyed it, although it was not what I thought it should have been.
Okay, cool. Well, all right. So my turn. So if you listen to the show when we did Batman vs Superman, and listen to my brilliant rantings about how awful that film was, and if you haven't, you should go back and do so because. Alan, I actually really enjoyed that episode, not because I got to rip on that movie, but because I thought it was actually a really good conversation that we all had. And we all walked away from it, still friends because it's just movies. Though I can't say it's just movies because apparently like this new Star Wars movie is like ruining people's lives apparently. So anyway.
Have you seen it yet?
I haven't, and I want to, and I'm probably going to actually tomorrow.
Okay,
because the kids are in
Because
daycare.
I want to talk to you about that. So you need to.
Yeah, the kids are in daycare tomorrow. My wife and I have the day off. We'll be going. Well, she has the day off.
I absolutely donate again to be on that show.
I always have the day
I want to talk about it too.
So
Maybe.
Anyway, so Alan is going to single-handedly fund us for the next year. So anyway, so if you listen to the episode and you thought, oh, here goes Sean, he's ready to go off. You know what? You're not going to get that episode. I had fun with this. I did. Maybe it was the mood I was in. I had just gotten back from Chicago, so I was home, and I was happy to be home. And the kids in still were school, and Sarah, my wife, was in school. And I'm like, I'm going to go see the movie. And I went and saw it by myself, and which was weird because I usually don't do things by myself. But I had a good time with it, and I actually kind of enjoyed the movie. And to Andrew's point earlier that I mentioned when he said it was kind of a Marvel film, that's what I liked about it. Because I don't know these characters the way Andrew and Alan and I guess Corny does, and he could tell us whenever he gets a chance to see the movie. He hasn't seen it yet either. But I don't know these characters a lot. Again, my one of my big issues in the DC realm that I mentioned in Wonder Woman that I was really confused about, and Andrew had to kind of help me walk me through, is that I'm big into the Greek mythology. Like I've read several books, and I'm kind of into all that.
I read books.
I read a book or two, and this is where I would play just. Do I have that clip? I don't know.
Stupid book.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have that clip on my phone or not. I probably don't.
Sean has had some technical issues. With his
So my desktop has completely died, and so literally the only thing that I have for the podcast is what's on my phone, which is something like I have stuff like
in the bud, yes.
And
of course, why wouldn't you have that on your phone?
I have
And the monkey flips the switch.
I have
The devil.
and I also have
Dick was being too hard.
anyway. But what I don't have is stupid effing book. I don't have that. Anyway, so I had a really kind of hard time with the whole concept that Ares is the bad guy and you have to kill him. Like you can't kill gods. That's not a thing. And it was that whole thing was weird to me. But it's like, okay, so I just kind of that's this world, and I'm just gonna have to deal with it. So as I'm watching it again, I don't know the characters, so forgive me. But as I'm watching this, and then we saw Amber Heard underwater, which was weird to me. I'm like, what the hell are you doing in this movie? But shouldn't you be out like complaining about Johnny Depp or something? But so when she says something like, "Oh, the firstborn returns," is he the son of Poseidon?
No.
Okay, who is he? So he's not.
No. He is the son of, and please hang with me because I'm not as up on Aquaman lore, but he is the son of the queen of Atlantis and a human man.
The queen of. So I'm actually on his IMDb page, his wiki page.
Or at least in the movie, that's the way that it was portrayed.
The story, he is born as Orin to Queen Atlanta, and the mysterious wizard Atlan, okay? So he's, okay.
Wasn't that a lion in a movie we've seen before?
Aslan, yeah. He was abandoned, of course he was, because that's what DC does, right? You're born and then you're abandoned, I guess. Go to Earth and do stuff.
Wasn't that most gods, though, in terms of Greek mythology?
Yeah, but Well,
Pretty much Zeus had sex with everybody, and then they kind of just went on their own.
Well, yeah, but they at least stayed with their mother. They're human as a feral child. Okay, so he's not a demigod. That's my point. So he's not a demigod. He's just a strong dude. All right, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I was just curious.
In the Justice League movie, in that conversation, he tells her that she's trying to defend the mother, who is the Queen of Atlantis. And he says, "Well, she just left me on Dad's doorstep and hasn't thought about me in 100 years or however long it's been." Whatever.
Right? Yeah.
And I assumed that it was just one of those sort of trysts between for lack of a better term, a god and a human.
Right, which is the way demigods are born, and that's what. And he says that line, I'm like, oh, so he's a demigod. Okay, so we've got 2 demigods in the story arc here, because Diana is technically a demigod. She is the child of Zeus and what's her name, blonde lady. So, what?
Alicia Silverstone.
No, boy, that'd be nice. No, but whoever her mother is.
Hippolyta.
Yeah, her Hippolyta. Yeah, so she's kind of a demigod, and she has demigod. Well, she doesn't have demigod powers. Demigods don't live forever like she does. But anyway, it's fine. So that part. But again, that's my own issue. That's not DC's fault. That's what they chose to do, and that's fine. And my other issue is that even I'm having to explain to my wife is like because DC isn't real world. Like they don't use real cities. It's still confusing. Like Gotham and Metropolis are next door neighbors, and there's an island in between them now. Apparently, I need a map. Give me a map. I like maps. I'm a visual dude.
It was there, the island that when they shot Doomsday with the nuclear missile.
Right.
The island that's landed on. It was there in the movie.
I know it's there in the movie. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's why I keep being confused. Is like, okay. So again, there's these 2 ginormous cities that warrant their own superhero that are next to each other. That just seems unplausible, but it's fine. It's their own universe. They can do what they want. Again, none of those things are my actual problems with the movie. I actually had a good time with the movie. The movie is kind of Avengers-like, not just because Joss Whedon came in and did some reshoots and stuff. But yeah, you have your baddie, right, who can't really be killed by anyone. It needs the team, I guess, except Superman probably could rip him in half if he wanted to. And then he got his army of nondescript things that can just be killed and you don't care about, right? I mean, Batman shoots them with guns and we're cool with that, and that's fine. So it's kind of similar in that, right? There's portals, right? So there's a big portal in the sky that comes out and they come out of them or something. So that's again, it's kind of Avengers-like also.
Yeah,
so,
portal ex machina.
Yeah, a little portal ex machina. That's fine. And Sam, to your point, when you said Batman's kind of just there, he doesn't really. I mean, he's obviously the finance behind the thing, but also like some people want to compare him to Iron Man. He's actually kind of more like Director Fury, isn't he? Like he's the one that gives the push, right? Don't you think? Like he's the one that.
But I don't see Director Fury being able to fight like Batman.
If Director Fury had his gear, he could. Director Fury's a badass. You saw him in Civil War. You know, he took out all those cops on the street. He needed a minigun in his armrest of his Chevy. So, anyway, probably doesn't work as well. He's not Iron Man. Is my point. They're just billionaires. Anyway, but I don't know.
Wait. Does Batman build his own tech in the comic?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no. Oh, sorry.
A lot of it comes from Wayne Enterprises and Lucius Fox.
So, like in the Dark Knight series.
Yeah.
Okay.
He used to build it, and then they kind of, as Wayne Tech got more and more, he started kind of outsourcing it that way.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I know people complain, and I was one of them, that these movies, like that they're dark films and devoid of humor. And And people are like, see, Wonder Woman was great because it was funny. No, Wonder Woman was a good movie, I think, for a lot of other reasons.
It told a good story.
Yeah.
And it chose a formula, right? It did the thing that I think Marvel figured out a long time ago is you pick what kind of movie you're going to be, and then you add in the superhero part, right? Civil War is a spy flick.
Ant-Man of the Heist.
Yeah, Guardians is a space opera. It's Star Wars, right? So, Wonder Woman, they said, we're just going to make a war movie. And then we're going to insert this woman who can do all these great things, right? And that's what they did. And then there you go. So
I would jump in there real quick and say that as the first female-driven or female lead superhero movie, and the fact that they kind of stepped away from Zack Snyder on the most part for that movie had a lot to do with how well it did.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder has no problem with spectacle. He has all sorts of problems with story.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of Michael Bay in that way, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Just look back at the Transformers movies. None of us have seen the newest Transformer movie.
No.
And those movies are geared towards us because we were the ones buying the toys back in the day. I don't really know. Again, not being the DC guy that Andrew and Alan are, I don't know where the hate for this movie was. It's parked on IMDb right now at a 7.2. I think that's very fair.
I wouldn't do any higher than that. We'll talk about that when we do our points.
Sure.
I wouldn't mind watching it again.
Oh yeah, I'd watch
And
it
that's a good indication.
Yeah. Like Dollar
To me,
Theater or
it is.
Redbox, whatever. Yeah, when it Redbox is, I'll Redbox it with my wife and we'll watch it and have a good time with it. Now, honestly,
I think what bothers me about the movie, and the reason that I didn't like it as good as I liked Batman vs Superman, which everybody else hated, is because I kind of liked the dark atmosphere of that movie that everybody hated. And the reason that everybody wanted it to be more like Marvel was the reason I liked it. And then when we got this one, I thought, well, we don't have that anymore. We don't have this kind of, I don't know.
Well, we do. And it's called The Punisher. And The Punisher is fantastic. And that is dark and hard and all of those things. And so there is a place for it. And maybe I didn't make this point when we did Batman vs Superman. I don't think the movie failed because it was dark, tonally or even visually, because it was also visually very dark. Because Batman, The Dark Knight is a dark film. It is a hard film. There is almost
absolutely.
What I think I can think of 3 jokes in the entire movie. So let me get this straight.
They're pretty dark jokes. They're like dark humor.
Well, they're dark humor because my favorite joke in the movie is when Lucius Fox says, so let me get this straight. Your employer, Bruce Wayne, you claim is a guy who goes around beating up bad guys with his bare fist to a pulp, and your plan is to blackmail him? Good luck. That's funny, and there's a veiled threat in there, right? So that's a dark joke. So I don't think that it has to have comedy in your movie. I think the problem with one of my big problems with that movie is that there was so much happening that things didn't make sense. You created, I think, Superman's ultimate villain in the first movie. And then the other issue that Sam and I both mentioned is you didn't world build very enough. We didn't stay in a scene long enough to care about anyone.
Yeah. Well, it's not the fact that it was just dark and I liked it because it was dark. Because I did enjoy the Flash, like Sam was talking about in this movie.
Yeah.
And the humor that was put into it. I did like that. And I did have fun watching it. But I guess maybe I was expecting it to be more like the first one.
Sure.
In certain aspects.
Do you think that most of his scenes were Joss Whedon directed?
It felt like it.
Because they seem so different than most of the movie. Is him kind of goofing and whatever. Like that end credit scene, 100% Joss Whedon. That's just got Joss all over it. And again, we haven't mentioned him yet. Cyborg? I freaking love Cyborg. He's one of my favorite characters in Teen Titans. I love the cartoon Teen Titans. I love that he says booyah. I love that he said it in the movie because I laughed out loud and actually did a fist pump because that was funny, right? I just needed Beast Boy to come out and give him a high five. And it kind of was weirding me out. I thought the CGI on him was fine. It kind of reminded me a little Rogue One Leia-ish when his head would kind of float a couple of times. But I get it. You have to you have to CGI him, right? You can't put him in a like a thing like 2005 The Thing. You can't do that.
Yeah.
What is his? I mean, does his suit adapt? Is that what's going on with him?
It's like living AI. It allows him to modify to whatever he needs to modify to in that particular instance. You see the defense system when he feels threatened by Superman. But the key and what they used him well in the movie was his ability to connect to any infrastructure and control it, manipulate it. That's where he really played up. That's why if it's toward the end of the movie when he's working with his dad again, you see him take quote unquote his final form, so to speak, when he's learning to control it better. Mm-hmm. You see the chest actually
solidify.
Yeah. You see it mold into the circle, the red circle emblem that everybody was looking for the entire movie. But he was still learning how to not only be the human part of him, but to control the machine part. And he had the best arc in the movie as far as character, I thought.
Yeah, I did too.
And but going back to an earlier point, I think this movie is a prime example of internet-driven, what I like to call ridiculousness. People have their minds made up before they see a movie.
That's exactly right.
And it blew my mind, the negativity 2 or 3 days before it came out. And I wait and see the movie and then do a review. But right now, it feels like if Zack Snyder's attached to anything, it's going to be garbage, no matter how good the movie is. That just seems to be the internet lingo for something like this. I don't think it was. It wasn't as bad as some of the reviews I was reading. But again, like I said, there were some really great moments that could have been just a little bit more. So we'll see. I like where they set up where they're going to go if they continue. If that's even up in the air at the moment.
Sure. Well, and to your point about Zack Snyder, now, of course, he's going through a lot of personal stuff. I mean, there's a reason why Joss Whedon came in towards the end. It's because the death of his child and Zack Snyder. So I think personally, if he decides to get back into the film business, it might be good for his own health, like his career, to step aside from this for a little bit and let someone else do it. Because, and I think that you need to do that. I mean, like the Marvel movies, there are only a few that are directed by the same people, right? So Jon Favreau did Iron Man 1 and 2, and then Joss Whedon did Avengers 1 and 2. And then,
but look at those movies back to back, too. You could tell in the second one there was a loss of energy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Avengers 1 and Iron Man 1 are both way better than them. And I will admit, Cap 2 is better than Cap 3, which is the same directors. Now, we haven't had a third movie by the same guy yet. And the brothers that did Cap 2 and 3 are doing an Infinity War. So we're on kind of uncharted territory with that. I don't know what to think. The trailer makes it seem excited. But I mean, I think at this point, honestly, it could literally be 2 hours of Tony Stark eating shawarma and you slap a Marvel sticker on it, and I think people are going to go watch it. Kind of with Star Wars, but I'm going to derail for just a second. I saw this today, and it was the funniest thing. Again, I haven't seen the new Star Wars movie yet. I've only seen people's reactions to the new Star Wars movie. So my brother-in-law posted this, quote, "To help JJ plan the next film, here is the perfect formula." Okay, I got to make this big because my eyes suck. "Make it the same as the original trilogy, but also make it different. Don't change anything. Make sure to include surprises, but not surprises we don't want. In fact, avoid surprises. Don't rehash anything, but also don't try anything new because we won't like it. So make sure to do justice to the cast, but we won't say how. Just make sure to get it right. I want it to be exactly the way I want it, but just a little bit different, but also the same. Make sure we know the backstory to all the characters, even the incidental ones, because we are all speculating and you better be reading my mind. But leave it mysterious at the same time, and no CGI. Keep everything practical, but make sure to expand the universe like the prequels did, using CGI. But don't do anything the prequels did, or The Force Awakens, or the original trilogy, but make it like those films. Give it some humor too, but don't make it too funny. Show us some new Force powers, but not the ones that we haven't already seen before because new powers are ridiculous. Don't kill anyone, it betrays my childhood. But also make it unpredictable by killing off a few characters. Clear? Good. Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
That sounds like Star Wars fans right there.
Yep.
No kidding. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it tomorrow. I'm just reading. I know. I'm sorry. I'm derailing it from the Justice League here, but I kind of feel like that's way DC people, not just DC, but like comic book movie people are also. It's like, okay, we have 2 hours to encapsulate a thing that has gotten. I mean, how many Justice League comics are there? I mean, there's a cartoon. There's probably dozens of different versions, right, Alan? I mean, there's got to be.
Yeah, you've got Justice League, you've got Young Justice, you've got Justice League of America.
You got the New 52.
52, yeah. I mean, they're all over the place. Different lineups, different. I actually read a review that said that this movie was crap just because Martian Manhunter wasn't involved.
Yeah, I saw something about that too, and to which my response was, "Who?" You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be a huge fan to even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. Does that mean that there's a Martian? Do we have Martians now? We're saying that Martians are a thing. So I'm not actually asking the question; it's a rhetorical. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's also a reason why the Inhuman series has failed miserably because there's a talking dog. Like, there's a mutant dog in that show or something, and no one watched it. And now you're like, well, Sean, Guardians of the Galaxy has a talking raccoon in a tree. Yes, but they're in space. So, like, you've changed reality, and I think that's why it works. Right? Maybe? I don't know. I also kind of liked how Batman kept saying, so can you actually talk to fish? Like, can you spread the word to your fish friends? Like, I kind of liked that bit. So
yeah, I think that
makes fun of Aquaman. I mean,
well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that for years Aquaman got the shaft and got made fun of terribly, and I think I liked how they poked fun at the character while still keeping him as a badass as he is.
Right.
Especially when he sat on the lasso of truth. That scene was great.
That's pure Joss Whedon. Had to have been.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Don't like reading all day long. I liked his. Jason Momoa does a great job of playing the road, so to speak. He kind of marches to the beat of his own drum and then figures out that there's a bigger picture. I liked that arc. I just wish they'd explored it just a little bit more.
Well, they're going to. He's getting his own movie next.
Yeah.
Are we sure? I thought I was hearing rumors that they're basically canning Justice League.
No, the Aquaman's coming out November of next year.
Yeah,
okay.
It's coming out next.
Yeah. It's the next one on the slate for DC movie.
Yeah,
And I think that these individual movies, now that they're going to start working on these, are going to help at least explore the characters a little more. And I don't know, maybe when we come back together for a later Justice League film, that we'll enjoy it more.
Yeah, you'll care about them more.
Yeah.
That's why, if you go back, like we spoke a little beforehand, if you go back and watch some of the promotional material for the movie, a lot of that stuff was not actually in the film. There's a great scene where the Flash, I think, is when he discovers what he can do. He's kind of pushing a finger through the glass, and it's going.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I think there were some scenes that were shot to kind of give you kind of whet your appetite for the individual movies for each character, kind of show you, this is kind of what happened. But then you get to the biggest problem with this movie, and that's the Warner Brothers executives coming in and saying, nope, we've got to chop it down to less than 2 hours, and all the decisions that are made behind the scenes, I think really harmed the movie. I think there were probably some really great appetite-whetting character-building moments for Flash and Cyborg, because for all intents and purposes, I mean, we've had the Man of Steel, that's the origin movie, that's Superman. Batman, everybody knows the origin story, and we've had the Wonder Woman. So I think that there was some really good sort of character-building, appetite-whetting scenes that were probably on the cutting room floor now, because they were in some of the promotion material.
Well, do you think, and again, this is the Marvel guy asking the question, but do you think they should have done what Marvel did and given everyone their own movie first before they team up? Give us.
I think it would have helped with the fan base. I think, I think the reason that Avengers did so well is because everybody had seen these individual films and cared about the characters, and so they were already invested
and knew what they could do. Because I don't know what the Flash can do. And when in the trailer I saw Cyborg fly, I'm like, wait, he can fly? He can talk?
Does he not?
Well, he doesn't in the cartoon. So, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't in Teen Titans. He has to build a jet. So,
well, and Aquaman has some pretty amazing acrobatic skills in the air.
Right. And so I think, and again, maybe not to, again, they have to go the Marvel route. I'm not saying that they have to, but I mean, you guys have all said, well, not you all. Well, yeah, you all have said we wanted more of these characters. We wanted more Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman. Well, those are three that didn't get their own movie. Now they're going to, but we got to wait until 20 something. 20. Where is it? I just had it. Oh, Aquaman is 2018. Shazam is 2019. Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 2 is 2019. Cyborg and Green Lantern is 2020. So we don't even get a Flash movie. We're going to get something called Flashpoint. Is that a Flash movie? What is that?
Yeah, that's a Flash movie.
Flashpoint is a Flash movie, and it is if they're going to, it would be the best way to quote unquote do a soft reboot. And that's why they're holding off on it, I think.
Right.
Because that movie deals with changing timelines and stuff like that. So
yeah, there's actually, Sean, I don't know if it's still on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. One of them had the animated Flashpoint that you should watch.
Oh, neat. Well,
if you want to know more about it.
And I know there's a lot of confused people because I'm one of them, and I know I've talked to other confused people as to the whole, okay, so you have the Flash TV show, but it's not the same actor as the Flash that's in the movie, and all the Flash backstory and story arc that the show has done has nothing to do with the movie, and so, people are invested in those shows. I freaking loved Arrow for the first 2 seasons, and then I just kind of dropped off because I just ran out of time in my life to watch it. But I loved Arrow, and I would have been super excited if Arrow could have been in this, but I know he couldn't. And again, I know that's a greater problem than this movie. I know that's a Warner Brothers DC huge kind of weird thing where they have some rights and they don't have some rights and whatever. Again, I'm not here to make that.
They could go the Marvel route and just buy out.
Yeah, they should just buy everything
Fox.
like freaking Disney just did. Bought Fox. That's unbelievable for $53 billion. That's insane. And to think that, and I think at some point when the dust settles from that, we're gonna figure out why. Because we found out about the Sony Marvel thing because of the North Korea hack, right? So that all came about, and in those emails that were released, we found out that Marvel and Sony were kind of in the backdoor handshaking a Spider-Man thing, and then when it came public, the public was like, "You have to do that now." It makes me wonder if Hugh Jackman was like, I'm not doing any more Logan movies. And then Kevin Feige comes over and says, hey, if we buy you, would you come be in Avengers 4?
Dude, he's mentioned it. He has mentioned he would come back as Wolverine.
He would reprise Logan.
For an Avengers movie.
And the movie Logan wouldn't be affected by it because it's in the future.
Yep.
So you could still do that. You could still have several movies, or they could reboot it. I don't know.
And all of a sudden becomes canon in the Marvel universe.
Right. Like, there's always... no, I'm getting excited. Sorry, I know I'm sidetracking again. Sorry. But, anyway, what's my point? My point is that...
Guys, Alan and Davey County Schools, we're Marvel folk over here, I think.
Well, no, that's fine. And going back to a point made earlier, would it have made more sense to do, individual movies? I think yes, it would. And that was what was brilliant about Marvel's game plan, so to speak, was they released it just like they were releasing comic books. When you release comic books, you get people invested in the individual stories so that the team-up stories have more clout, so to speak. And that works well. But again, I think there was an idea with Warner Brothers. They said, we've got the 3 biggest name superheroes. That's going to sell movies no matter what. And we're paying attention. And Marvel came along and said, okay, we only have our B-list characters right now. And we're going to write stories and do things to make you care about these characters. And they revolutionized the ability to sell a character in a movie.
Right.
And I think Warner Brothers was just saying, well, as long as Batman's in a movie, it's going to sell.
Yeah.
As long as Superman's in a movie, it's going to sell. And especially if we put them all 3 together, that's going to blow the roof off. It's matter with the story.
Yeah.
I think that was the way they did it.
Well, you're right. And I think you or Andrew made that very same point when we did Batman v Superman. Is that I think the thinking is that the execs at Warner Brothers are like, we have the biggest 3, like you said. I mean, honestly, Wonder Woman being the third of the Trinity on that totem pole is still probably more popular than maybe second only to like Spider-Man in the Marvel world, because I think Spider-Man might be kind of top dog when it comes to maybe Hulk. I don't know, maybe Wolverine. I don't know, but none of them are as iconic as Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. I mean, they're like the Holy Trinity. So I think they're thinking of is like you said, well, gosh, all we got to do is slap it on a plastic lunchbox and someone's going to buy it. And I don't think they had a game plan. I don't think that they didn't, whoever the woman's over there running it, like, I don't think that they got her involved soon enough. I can't remember her name. Like their version of Kevin Feige to say.
Judd Apatow.
Yeah, that's a female name. To get them like, okay, we need a story plan and we need to do this. Like, it just seems like every year they just, we're going to do, The Rock wants to do a movie, Shazam. Okay, fine. Like it just feels like they're constantly just making shit up. And then we as the fans suffer, right? Because I want to get into these characters.
I believe the executives are so afraid of the Green Lantern happening again. Or some of these failures that they've seen with some of their other characters. Marvel, as of yet, hasn't had a dud in terms of a big movie. Well, and I think Warner Brothers saw that and was like, okay, well, maybe we avoid doing individual characters in case it doesn't work, and let's throw all our eggs in this basket and do a major Justice League.
Right. Well, see, I agree with you to a degree, but where I'm going to disagree is I think where DC is right now is where Marvel was when like Thomas Jane's Punisher came out and like Daredevil and that god awful Hulk movie with Eric Bana, and that when they had Kevin Nash.
Very true. I forgot about those failures in itself.
Marvel went through their growing pains too.
Yeah,
and then they figured it out. They said, no, we need to make people care about. Again, they didn't have Spider-Man, they didn't have the X-Men. They said we need to make people figure out or make people feel for Iron Man and feel for Black Widow. Also, these characters that I never bought an Iron Man comic. I never bought a Captain America comic. If it was Marvel, it was X-Men or Spider-Man. That was it.
And, I honestly think that these individual movies are going to be really good. You know, going like you just said, Ant-Man, I could not have given two flips about Ant-Man when I was growing. I didn't even know who Ant-Man was, but that's one of my favorite Marvel movies. And that's a character that I love in the Marvel universe because I've seen the Ant-Man movie and I totally bought into it.
And it's a good cast and you know, so yeah. And I know, and it's funny, Andrew, as soon as Sam said, and Marvel hasn't produced a dud, I could see your wheels just spinning, and I knew you were going to jump in with, well, hang in now. And I think his point was since Iron Man. And the argument can be made, well, yeah, there have been some that have not been great, or even, I mean, Avengers 2 is fine. It's not great or even really all that good. It's fine.
Would you watch it again?
Oh, it was on TBS last week. I watched it.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's the trick. That's what Marvel wants you to do.
Yeah,
is to sit there and enjoy a movie.
Yeah.
Well, now, for me, I would personally put Justice League ahead of Avengers 2. I would put Justice League ahead of Iron Man 3. I would put Justice League ahead of. There are several more because I don't really get into some of them, but. I'm not saying they're not good movies, but I would rather watch Justice League than some of those others because this is where the selling point is, because it's Superman, because it's Batman, because it's Wonder Woman. Doesn't necessarily make them doesn't necessarily make it a better movie. It's just a personal preference to want to see them in over. Like I said, I'd much rather watch Justice League as it stands now than Avengers. I didn't care for that movie very much.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, that's your opinion. I mean, I wouldn't. Well, I'm trying to think because as you were talking, I was trying to think of movies in the MCU that I would rather watch this than those. And I would rather watch Justice League than Cap 1. I'd rather watch Justice League than. Give me a second. I'll get there. Probably even Thor 1 or Thor 2. I didn't. I mean, those were fine. Thor 3 was really good, but it was ridiculous. I mean, it was an 80s. It was an 80s space opera. There was no spoilers. It was just a ridiculous. It is as ridiculous as Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I mean, it's. You know what I'm saying? It's like over the top funny. There's a lot of 80s music in there. I mean, it's like where Sam had got me to has forced me at gunpoint to read Ready Player One, and I am doing so and flipping loving every second of it. I can't wait to get back into it. And it's like the guy or woman, I can't remember who directed Thor 3, if it was a woman or not, I can't remember. But whoever directed Thor 3 basically like reread Ready Player One and was like, oh yeah, 80s nostalgia. Now let's make a Thor movie. So that's kind of what that movie feels like.
I feel like and I haven't seen Ragnarok yet, but I feel like just from watching the previews that they have done that to connect it to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, they is because they're the ones that find him.
Yeah,
the Guardians find him. And you're probably right with that. I mean, freaking again, this is no spoilers, but Jeff Goldblum is ridiculous. Like,
is he Jeff Goldblum in it?
He's Jeff Goldblum plus. Like, he still does his little mannerisms where he talks kind of weird and he does a thing and like he has like this, like he literally has a thing, he calls it the death stick or something. And like some person, you don't know who they are, they did a thing and he kills him with the death stick, right? And so then like Thor like interrupts him. He's like, please don't interrupt me. And then his henchman like hands him the death stick. He goes, whoa, he just interrupted me. That doesn't deserve the death stick. He just interrupted me. It's fine. Just put the death stick away, or like there's all that kind of stuff. So anyway, my point is that I'm kind of with you there, though, Alan. I mean, and I get that there are going to be. I mean, MCU's what 14 movies now or something, so it stands to reason that some are not going to be as good as the other. But I can also rattle off 8 that I would rather watch than Justice League. Just for their
look at the dichotomy between the hate when. It seems like you said earlier, Marvel can slap Marvel on 2 hours of, I don't remember the exact analogy you made, and it will sell.
Yeah,
and while a movie like Justice League, which was actually pretty decent and a good time, is crapped on all day long. And wish we could get into some of the highlights. I feel like we've been Debbie Downers the whole time.
Well, hang in there. I don't know if we actually have been Debbie Downers. I think we've been kind of poo-pooing Warner Brothers more than the movie, because I think they've screwed the pooch and they've screwed the fan is what it is. They're like what Sam says. They're freaking out about their bottom line and getting their ass handed to them by Marvel, which they have been doing since 2008. That has made them do this knee-jerk reaction with this movie. I think this movie is 3 years too soon. We should have had a Flash movie. Why is his dad in jail? I want to know that story. How did he make his suit? I know he's a genius. I get that. But it's just that's a thing that makes you go really fast. Like Batman just says what it is. Like, great. How did he make it? Like, show me that. I kind of want to see that stuff, and I kind of, again, we're going to get that 3 years from now. So I guess, I don't know. But anyway, what was I going to say? That was because you said we need to do some good stuff. I mean, people
I liked every part of the Flash.
Well, I do want to say
visuals.
Well, hang in there. Before we get there, what the hell has just happened? IMDb is freaking out.
Your sound that's coming through is very...
Is it bad?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if it's coming through the recording, but it's sounding...
Well, it can't come through the recording. I'm straight into the hard drive for me, but... I don't know. Internet's been weird recently. So it was a $300 million budget. It made a gross worldwide of almost over $600 million. Right? So, I mean, it's obviously not a terrible movie. And I think, Alan, to your point, that the people that the quote unquote the hate is probably the fanboys and probably in your purview of what you're hearing and seeing, because most of my exposure to this prior to tonight and last week or the other day when I watched it was what Sam and Andrew told me, and Andrew said I liked BBS better than this, which didn't really tell me anything because he liked that movie a lot, and Sam said he liked this better than BBS, which again didn't tell me anything because I know he didn't like that movie at all. So I'm not hearing the hate like you are. So to me, it was just another movie. It's just another DC movie where it was like, So, but I think for the most part, for the last hour that we've been talking, we've all kind of said. I mean, again, J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. I want a full 2-hour movie with him and Batman back and forth. I freaking love J.K. Simmons, and I'm actually a little sad he's in this role because they asked him to come back and do a role as J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man 2 sequel. And he was like, I'm kind of stuck as Commissioner Gordon now. And which is sad because I love Gary Oldman. He was perfect in that role. He was so good in that role. And so...
And I don't mean the hate like within the four of us thinking. I mean, I know what you meant. You meant like kind of the general public. Overall. But you just made another interesting point, and I think that was maybe DC's plan. You just said, I want to know why his father's in jail. I want to know how he made his suit. These are the things I think they want to plant so that when the Flash movie comes out, that's what they hope that drives you to the theater. Now, whether that's the right game plan or not, it happened to work here. It didn't work with some of the other Easter eggs and that kind of thing.
Well, you're also you're asking your fan base to do a lot. I mean, you're talking about 3 years, right? You're talking about 3 years from now getting a payoff for an Easter egg that was a one sentence in this movie.
Think of comic book fans, dude.
I understand that but comic book fans are not your only target, right? Your target are also
they can't be and make money,
right? Your target is not Andrew and Alan. Your target is you and me, Sam, right? Yeah, because
I didn't grow up on these heroes,
right? So Andrew and Alan are going to go buy a ticket. It's how do you get you and I to go, right? And then so how do you get you and I to go watch The Flash? Is it by putting a one-liner Easter egg in your movie? To me,
I tell you though, watching this movie made me want to go see Flash,
and it makes me want to see it too.
So, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't want to. I don't think I'd want to see a Batman from this Batman.
No, we don't need to see that. He's been doing it for 20 years. They've said that in his film. He's been like, we've already established that I don't need to see Mom and Pa Gotham die again. I forgot his name. Wayne die again. I don't need to see that. Just like in Spider-Man Homecoming, we didn't need to see Uncle Ben die again and tell him with great power comes great responsibility. We didn't need to see that, which is why it was a one-liner. How'd you get your powers? Got bit by a spider. Is the spider still alive? No, it's dead. Okay. Move on. And then the friend goes on this ridiculous thing of, can you summon an army of spiders? Can you do this? Can you do that? Right? And it was hilarious. So,
yeah. And
that was a John Hughes movie. So, anyway. I will say this. Jeremy Irons is wonderful. And once again, he has hit his thing with Alfred with the one-liners, right? Like, she's like, he goes, did you find Cyborg? And she's like, yeah, we have a date. At least somebody in this cave's got a date, you know? Like, and I love it. I freaking love Jeremy Irons as this smarmy kind of asshole. And like when he's driving the spider tank thing, and Cyborg goes, I got control. He goes, wait, who are you? And he's like, I got this. You're fine, Alfred. I liked him.
I can't get. See, and my problem is I like the Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Alfred. There's something about Michael Caine that. It's not just because I like to say Michael Caine.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he's great, and he is, but he's more of like a grandfather figure and a wise mentor.
But see, that's how I see Alfred.
But the problem is that you don't have a Lucius Fox in this world to be the brains behind that, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I can see Jeremy Irons using a settling torch and a soldering kit and making shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't see Alfred. Like, there's a scene where Alfred has to like do some technobabble, and it didn't work I think it was the third movie, but I think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you don't have. Whereas when Lucius Fox is talking about sonar like a submarine, like, I totally get it for whatever reason. It's like, oh yeah, he's Red. He's the guy that gets you cigarettes in prison. Like, he's tech savvy. I'm with you.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. Syrian Hines as Steppenwolf, which I never knew was a bad guy. I just thought it was a band.
I thought it was a band too.
Yeah, did the band get it from the guy? You want to know
Who
that?
is Steppenwolf?
Yeah,
Comic book guy.
Okay. From the comic book, Steppenwolf is, help me out, Andrew. It's it's DC's version of Thanos. His name is Darkseid. It's his uncle or nephew. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, nephew.
He's the uncle.
He is Darkseid's nephew. Yeah.
No, the uncle of supervillain Darkseid.
Have we seen Darkseid yet? Or
Steppenwolf is the
According
uncle
to
Darkseid?
Steppenwolf is a fictional supervillain appearing in the American comic book published by DC Comics. The character was created by Jack Kirby, made his first appearance in New Gods number 7, 1972. Steppenwolf, which is German for Wolf of the Steppe, is one of the New Gods, the uncle of supervillain Darkseid, and a member of the Darkseid's elite.
Yeah, we want to keep the Wolf of the Steppe in a very big.
Steppe is in Steppe, not just like.
Yes, he lives on the steppe. That's what I said.
That's where he lives.
He sleeps on the steppe.
Go to the steps. That's where you stay. That's
right on my front steps. Go screw yourself.
Yes.
And that goes to what I was talking about earlier. There was a supposed, again, and I use quotations so nobody can see me, but there was a supposed leaked script where the final scene was Superman coming back to fight kind of like this, and they drove Steppenwolf off using one of the boom tubes, the portals, and Darkseid was supposed to be coming through to set up Justice League 2.
This is my boomstick. Sorry.
That was where they were wanting to set that up, and they decided instead of going Justice League Part 1, Part 2, they just decided to go Justice League, let Steppenwolf stand alone, and if it worked, they would introduce Darkseid later. But there is the scene where Steppenwolf is commanding the parademons to go out. He does say for the mother, and then he says for Darkseid. So they are laying some groundwork. Again, it's rushed, and that all the Warner Brothers problems. But I mean, there's a lot of ingredients here that could be great. And I think he even makes reference to the new gods in the movie, if I'm not mistaken. He says he's going to be one of them once he conquers Earth. All those little things. So, I mean, they're there. Again, all the ingredients are there. The oven just doesn't.
For the record, Steppenwolf the band started in 1968. So, and I don't know why I just thought about this, but to Sam's point about leaving the boxes of power just kind of over there in the back of your car. I mean, in fairness, the Tesseract was in a church somewhere in Germany. So, I mean, it's not like,
Sure.
It's not like
He had no clue the power of it.
like the ether was hidden under a rock that Odin's father hid in another dimension that they didn't know that Natalie Portman could just, teleport there. And
Well, sometimes we like to have things in our churches that the wolves can play with on the steps.
But I do have to say this, and this is, again, I don't know if this is a Zack Snyder or a Joss Whedon, but did you guys notice that Steppenwolf goes out like the Dr. Smith spider guy from Lost in Space?
That's true. Yeah.
That's all I could think of.
They feed off your.
Yeah. They eat their wounded.
When you say leave the boxes laying around, are you talking about when he gets the last one after Superman's resurrected?
What is Sam showing me?
North Carolina got beat by Wofford.
Oh, look at that.
But is that what you're talking about, that particular scene when he gets to the last one, when he's just kind of laying on top of the car?
Yeah, they were out, but I think they were out fighting Superman, weren't they?
That was how I took. They were so focused on making sure Superman didn't kill them all that they kind of lost track of it for a second. Which is
How about the moment Superman sees the Flash as he's flying by?
That was a cool scene.
Yeah.
Because Ezra Miller's face going from confident, I'm going to stop this, to, oh crap, he can see me, to, oh crap, he's getting ready to attack me. That was great.
Yeah.
That was good. Ezra Miller played that perfectly.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was good. I mean, Ezra Miller did almost everything right. I loved what he did. And it was
Have a somewhat clumsy Flash was great. I
Yeah,
love that. It so often in what I conceive as DC movies, where heroes have no, not fallacies. What would you call it?
faults. Or-
Weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to see a human side of one of these guys.
When he tackles Wonder Woman from the falling debris, laying on top of it for a second, and flashes out, and he's embarrassed. Stuff like that.
Well-
Stuff like that I thought was great.
And here's the thing, and again, you can roll your eyes, but he played it, and again, they were filming almost at the exact same time. His character reminded me a lot of the new Spider-Man kid, where he's still figuring things out. He's still kind of clumsy and awkward Spider-Man. Like he goes up the Washington Monument, and he's like, wow, this is the tallest I've ever been. Like, you live in New York, right? But he never goes to Manhattan. He's kind of off in Brooklyn most of the time. He's in the suburbs, he's swinging from telephone poles and 2-story houses. So there's a lot of those kind of moments. And if he would have had a moment like that where he, would have fallen on Wonder Woman and like, oh, sorry, like there's a moment like that. There's another funny moment like that in a completely different movie, the Get Smart movie, where, what's his name? Max Smart falls on Anne Hathaway and his hand lands on her boob and he just kind of holds it there and she's like, come on, Max. He's like, oh yeah, right. Still fighting. Sorry. So anyway, I actually really like that movie a lot. It's ridiculous.
I thought there were some really great character moments too, especially for Ben Affleck's character. The pep talk for Flash, just save one, and then what?
Yeah.
Give him a minute. Yeah, that's good. The Superman was more human than I've ever been. I really enjoyed that scene. He fell in love. He held down a job. He was more human than I ever was.
Yeah, I mean, and Batman has a lot of redemption in the movie.
Yeah.
For what he perceives is his fault, which we all know is not, but heroes do that. They put things on themselves for whatever the reason that they feel like they have to. But no, you're not wrong. Ben Affleck, I like Ben Affleck as Batman, and I'm sad he's not directing his standalone Batman, and I'm hearing rumors he doesn't even want to do it anymore.
They're going to recast it.
Well, I kind of like him as it.
I don't though. I don't like him as Batman. He's too. I don't know. Too stubby.
I don't know. I think he's been the best on-screen Batman we've ever seen.
He's one of I would put him right up there with friggin' shit. Colin
Keaton.
Farrell. No, not Michael Keaton. The guy we just had.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, what is his fucking
Christian
Bale
Bale.
Christian Bale.
in Batman Begins. I like him better in Batman Begins, and I like Dark Knight is a better film. I like his version of Batman in Batman Begins better because he's not using that weird voice all the time. And I think it's way better in this movie that they just use a voice modulator because he's freaking Batman. Of course, he would have a voice modulator, so he doesn't have to talk like this all the time. You know, like
The problem I had with previous Batman is the physicality that is supposed to come with being Batman. I haven't believed until I saw Ben Affleck with the suit looking correct. It's not a piece of tactical armor, so to speak, like it was in the Dark Knight trilogy. It's more the suit from the comic. And he looks, being whatever he is, 6'5", 260, whatever he is, he looks the part. He looks like he can bring the physicality that we haven't seen. I didn't believe it much with Michael Keaton as a master, hand-to-hand combatant, and I didn't much believe it with Christian Bale. There were some
Suit though in it.
What was that?
Keaton couldn't move in a suit.
yeah, I mean that thing was vulcanized rubber. I mean he couldn't barely lift his arms over his head to catch a football, let alone fight. But that was also in a time where it was bad guys were one punch and gone. You know, like everyone in the 80s was One Punch Man. And for the record, Ben Affleck is 6'3", so he would definitely be the tallest of the Batman because Christian Bale is like 5'10". And you're right, and Ben Affleck he's more ripped. I mean, he is a ripped dude. At his age, he's also the oldest person to play Batman, which is interesting.
Yeah, I like that. They're playing the character as an older Batman, which I appreciate. Like you said, we've seen the beginnings of Batman 1,000 times. We don't need to see that again.
Yeah, I'm good with old man Batman.
This is interesting.
And I'm good if in a few more years they do a Nightwing or a Robin. Well, they're not going to do a Robin because they've already kind of
I want to see a
signified
Nightwing.
that they've already killed him, I think. But
Nightwing's in pre-production right now, I think, if I'm not
Is
mistaken.
it really?
I had the DC
Hope they do it well.
list
Yeah.
pulled up here. I'll pull it up. But anyway, I was looking to see if he was going to be in the new Batman. He is right now, as of today. Excuse me. He is still pre-production The Batman as Bruce Wayne, and then Justice League Part 2. He might be under contract. He might not have a choice.
Yeah, you got one or two movies left, and they were talking about if they were. Matt Reeves wants, I think, Jake Gyllenhaal. He's directing the Batman. Mm-hmm. I read somewhere he wants Jake Gyllenhaal, so Ben Affleck would be in Flashpoint and Justice League 2 to finish out his contract.
Well, the only people they have cast in that movie is Bruce, Joe Manganiello, whatever his name is, as Slade, and Commissioner Gordon, and of course Alfred. So those are the only ones they've got cast. Plot is unknown, but that's 2019. So I mean, they got to get their shit together because it's a couple of years. So whoever's doing it needs to do it. I like Ben Affleck. I do personally. I just think he's good in that role. He's more subtle than screaming Christian Bale, and he's not likely to go yell at the director either. So.
I did want to ask, especially you and Sam, as someone who, or as two guys that really didn't like the Superman direction. You think they got it more correct here in this movie?
Yeah, he's way less whiny. He's way less teen angst. He's just the freaking American. Well, he's the hero. I mean, he's so OP in this movie. When he comes in and Steppenwolf's like, the Kryptonian. He's like, I mean, it was as if when Hulk picked up Loki and banged him around like a rag doll. I mean, that's kind of what happened. And I laughed. I was cheering when that moment happened. When Superman showed up, I mean, it was like in Avengers when the Hulk shows up towards not the end of the fight, but I was like not quite middle, not quite beginning, but whatever, when he's like, tell him to suit up. I mean, that's kind of what happened, right? Like, Superman shows up and here I come to save the day kind of a thing. So, anyway.
Justice Line.
So, I thought he was great in this movie. It's probably my favorite version of him so far, honestly. Because he's not brooding. I mean, even when he was pissed, because when he woke up, he just got whatever, and he was mad, and he was like, can't you let me just be dead? And he was like, no, the world needs you, and I'm willing to take your place. Again, I mean, Batman is like the ultimate hero in this movie. Like, I mean, he really is. And I thought that they did well by his character at that point. Anyway, we're an hour and a half, not an hour and a half, we're an hour 15 into it. You want to do some, I don't have clips, obviously, because it was theater. So, and I guess I could play moments from the trailers, but most of that's not in the movie. So,
I'll act it out for you.
Oh, okay. No. So I got some trivia. So I'm going to do this, and then this can lead to more conversation, which is fine. So I'm going to play this now for the second time.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Okay. I got a lot of trivia, actually, because there was actually a lot to get, and there was a lot of interesting things, such as extensive reshoots in London and L.A. in the mid-2017 added a cost of another $25 million to the budget. Henry Cavill worked on reshoots, and he is working on the new MI6 Mission Impossible movie, which is coming out next year. He had to sport a mustache for his role in the latter project. However, Paramount refused to let the actor shave it off for the time he was playing Superman, so they had to digitally remove his facial hair in post-production. Could you imagine seeing him, like if there was a production still of him with his mustache in the Superman costume? That would have been hysterical. I would have loved to see that.
There were times you could look at his lip and see it.
Yeah,
That was what I was going to ask you.
It was a little.
I
wonky.
didn't notice it, but I wasn't looking for it either.
I mean, not see the mustache, but see where they had tried to fix it.
Holt McCallany, whatever, who plays the burglar in the first scene with Batman, said the scene was written and shot by Joss Whedon as comedic. But Warner Brothers preferred to open the film with a more serious tone, and the scene was re-edited. When McCallany returned home to New York, he found a bottle of his favorite champagne at his door and a note from Whedon that said, quote, "To battles lost, gratefully, Joss." McCallany appreciated Whedon's gesture and had the letter framed. Okay. So even Joss comes in and tried to add some brevity to it, and even Warner Brothers was like, "No, you need to darken it up a little bit."
That opening scene was a little weird, though. Just felt awkward. Felt small.
Well,
Like added on at the last minute or something. Just didn't.
Well, and it was.
had to make something up just to kind of, I'm like, Batman wouldn't use a criminal to do this and then just leave the criminal. I assume that he set it up intentionally with somebody that he knew, because he also was talking to Alfred and said Alfred in front of the said criminal.
Yeah.
Right.
There were some issues. I had a lot of issues with some of that scene, so I had to, like, in my head say, he must have, this is somebody he knows that he's just using to draw this parademon
He's
out.
dangling over a rooftop. Trust me, dude, it's fine. But if you trust me, then the fear won't be real. So don't trust me.
That was one of my big issues with the whole movie, is in that scene, because I started asking myself, how does Batman know that these these parademons thrive on fear and are attracted to fear? How does he know this?
Right.
Because
he's Batman, yeah. Because he's Batman. That's what he would say. The scene where Barry Allen is grumbling that Bruce Wayne is sitting in his second favorite chair is the inside joke about Sheldon's spot from The Big Bang Theory. Sheldon is a big fan of The Flash, and The Flash also wears T-shirts with Sheldon's quotes in the TV series The Flash, which I think is hysterical.
Huh.
When the three DC main heroes, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, make their first public appearance in the film, a part of their theme music from their respective films, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Batman 1989, and Superman 1978, all their cinematic film debut plays. So their scores played. Which, by the way, this was all originally going to be done by some EDM composer with Zack Snyder, and Joss came in and said, "Nope, going with my buddy Danny Elfman," and Danny Elfman rescored the entire movie in like 4 weeks. And that's why when Batman first comes on the screen, you get a little Batman and you get a little Superman, which I liked a lot.
Yeah.
But I know that stuff, because I'm a score nerd. So like I heard that stuff and I was like, hey, yay, I love this score. In the Kryptonian ship base, while checking Barry Allen's credentials, the name Wesley Shipp comes on the screen. John Wesley Shipp played the original Flash in the CBS series, and I wrote that. I had to put that because I've met the man. So there you go.
Oh, did you run into him?
No, but I did meet him and shook his hands, and I'm friends with him on Facebook. So it has to be real.
Cool.
He's a good dude. He was
Is that the
very.
guy that plays the dad on the current Flash TV show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays Barry's dad. He also played in the show that I worked with him on. He played the drunk father trope, and he got into a screaming match on set because he directed one of our episodes. But then the next episode we were filming, he came in, did like 2 takes, and then was going to walk off set and got into a shouting match with the assistant director because the assistant director had not released him. He's like, I got to go do edits for my episode that I directed. And he's like, I don't care. You have to be on set. Big shouting match, and ultimately John just walked off set. So that was fun. That was a fun day. A little inside baseball there for you.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Okay.
Oh, you have that.
Yeah. Top 3. We decided to do Ben Affleck movies because we haven't done them yet. At least I don't think we have, unless someone emails me and says we've done those. So we're doing Ben Affleck movies. Andrew.
Okay. Honorable mention of Argo.
I still need to see that.
Number 3, Good Will Hunting.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Number 2, thanks to Jen, listener Jen, Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I forgot he was in that one.
Yeah, he was good in that.
And I still am sorry that I even doubted you for a moment, Jen, because I did enjoy that movie and I thought it was fun. And number 1, and he's not in this movie for maybe 30 seconds, but I love the film.
Dazed and Confused?
Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Dazed and Confused. Suicide Squad. Yeah, I still haven't seen that one either. So.
I really think that of all the DC movies that have been of this newer universe, I like Suicide Squad the best.
Okay. Interesting. Sam.
All right, give me 3 as in Argo. Number 2 as in, I just had it on my phone here. Good Will Hunting. And then my number 1 is Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
Although technically my number 1 should be Field of Dreams. Because believe it or not, he was a fan at the Fenway Park when they were filming a scene there.
Yeah? That's actually kind of cool.
Interesting. Okay.
Was he like a child? I mean, he would have been really young, right?
1989, yeah, so he would have been a kid.
Yeah, baseball fan at Fenway Park, uncredited, 1989. Look at that. Yeah, he would have been 89. He was born in 72.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. All right, well, there you go. Cool. Like 14, 15, 17. I can't do math. Go ahead, Alan.
I'm going to do honorable mention, even though it probably should be at the top of my list of Batman v Superman. Number 3 would be Good Will Hunting. Number 2 would be Gone Girl.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's got a lot of twists and turns. And then number 1 would be The Accountant.
Yeah, The Accountant.
The Accountant.
It's great.
Interesting. I haven't seen that one
I haven't seen that either.
Oh, it's so good. So good. Oh, I forgot
You're doing the
Gone
second
Girl
one, apparently.
was a Fincher flick. Okay. My 3 are Some of All Fear. Again, I haven't seen that very many, so don't judge me too badly. I've seen.
Oh, we judged you.
I mean, I've seen Good Will Hunting, but I don't think of it as a Matt Damon flick. I mean, it is a Matt Damon flick. I don't think it is a Ben Affleck movie.
But
So I say Some of All Fears is my number 3 because I think he was fine in that. Number 2, I'm going to get some shit for. Don't care. Armageddon. I like that movie, and I think he's fine in it. I like him in that movie.
Even when he's traipsing animal crackers.
That
up
scene
Tyler's...
can die in a fiery crash, but otherwise it's a fine movie. And my number 1 is The Accountant. I love The Accountant. It's so good. So good. One of the things I like about that movie so much is not just the action scene or the fact that the villain is also the guy what plays the Punisher, but it portrays someone with autism as not just a disability. Like my wife and I watched that together. My wife teaches children with autism, and she was like, "They got it flipping right for once. It's not just this debilitating disease where there needs to be, all these whatever. Like he's obviously very high functioning, but he and of course he's got my film wife Anna Kendrick in it. She's awesome. So anyway, there you go. I still had my trio on there from last week. All right, cool. That's it. That's the show. Thank you so much. Out of 10. This is where we do the out of 10 part, where I go over here and click this thing and write in the thing out of 10. Andrew, give us your out of 10. Oh, I have a noise for that. Sorry. Get my phone, wake it up.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
There you go. Out of 10, Andrew.
Okay. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie. I would watch it again, but it's not my favorite in this new DC universe. So I am probably going to go somewhere around 7. Let's say maybe 6.9.
Okay.
6.99.
Oh, okay. Extra 9 in there. Got it.
You sure you don't want to go one more?
6.999.
There you go.
Okay.
Not quite 7.
I'm going to put Alan's name under cornies. So, Alan.
I again enjoyed it. Would watch it again. Didn't live up to my expectations. Of course, I don't think it ever could have. I'll give it a 7.3.
Okay. Sam.
Yeah, it's a fairly good flick. If there wasn't a Marvel universe out there, I think I'd really, really like it. I'm just happen to be a fan of one over the other. So, in terms of the movie,
there can be an argument made, Sam, that if the MCU didn't exist, this movie wouldn't exist.
Why?
Okay, fine. My point, the points that we made earlier, this movie is almost a knee-jerk reaction to the MCU.
Oh, okay. Well, eventually they would have.
Yeah,
they would have gotten to something like this.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Anyway, I'm going to give it a good. It's rewatchable. Give me it a 7.001.
Oh my god!
Out of 10.
All right, that's fine. I didn't dislike it all that much. I had a good time with it. I would watch it again. I thought it was fine. Yeah, it was a good movie. So I feel bad being like the lowest here, but I'm not going to be all that much. So I'm going to give it a 6.85, which I think is a pretty good score, and that gives an average vote of 7.035. So that's going to put it pretty close to the top third of our movies that we've seen. I think that's fair. It was an enjoyable time. I had a good time with it, and I'd watch it again, but not this week. When it comes out on Redbox, I'm all flipping over it. Cool. Next week, there is no next week, meaning there's no show next week. We will be off next week. Next week's Christmas. Give us a break, right? I know we did just take last week off, but we're taking next week off, Christmas. The week after that, we're back. We're doing the new Star Wars movie. I'm saying it now on air. We're doing the new Star Wars movie. I'm seeing it tomorrow. I think everyone else has already seen it. So
set aside a long night to talk about it.
It'll be it'll be interesting to talk about, and we'll go from there. If you would like to, that was awkward. If you would like to be like Alan and sitting here with us, $25 gets you a seat at the dinner table. GoFundMe.com/cheapseatreviews. Sam has ridiculed me so much. I'm scared to say anything but GoFundMe.com/cheapseatreviews. That helps pay for the show, keeps the lights going, and so go check that out. Of course, you can also check out all of our other stuff on our website, cheapseatreviews.com.
Including Sean's not-so-giant head.
Facebook.com/cheapseatreviews. But before the outro music gets too much farther, just a reminder of our 200th episode contest. If you send us an email or tweet, we've already gotten some emails. We got a tweet or two of movie requests and of people wanting us to do particular movies. So this is going to work is a week or two before 200. Well, we're going to take all the ones that we got. We're going to at random it as best as we can, and whoever wins at random that movie we will do, and you're going to win a $25 gift card to a movie theater of your choice, and that's very, very cool. So
and you get to punch Sean in the ear.
Yeah, you just got to drive to Anderson, South Carolina, and I will let you give me a. Sorry, Siri, what are you doing? I'll let you give me a high five. That's what I'll do. I'll give you a high five. That's not a euphemism. I'm just. High five.
I'd be curious to know what that euphemism is.
I don't know. I just made it weird.
I know, right?
So again, if you want to just direct message me on the Facebook.com/cheapseatreviews or on Twitter at cheapseatcast. You can just direct message me or just however you want to, or email cheapseatreviews@gmail.com. However you want me to get the information. Just send it to us, and we'll do it. We're really excited for 200. I think most of us are as amazed as probably you are, the listener, that we've made it to 200. Not that iTunes would kick us off, but the fact that there's still people downloading the show that would predicate us to keep doing this, which is kind of how it works. So anyway, that's going to do it for us. So on behalf, the music's still playing. So I'm going to vamp for another 15 seconds. And say,
by the way, I love the people of Detroit. You guys are
Detroit's
awesome.
Great. Yeah, we found out we have listeners in Detroit who are a little miffed at our mistreating of their fine city. So there you go. Also, I'll be back in Chicago in January, so maybe I'll take some posters and just start peppering Chicago with the poster of our podcast. That sounds like a good idea. Anyway. That's going to do it. So on behalf of Andrew, Sam, and Corny, this is Sean saying, Alan, thank you so much for joining us. Good night.